Peace and Pan-Africanism. I want to talk about the recent shooting one time. First of all, we send heartfelt condolences, love, and support to all the Africans in Jacksonville, Florida. All the Africans who were murdered in Jacksonville, Florida. We want to send heartfelt condolences and support to their families. I am not naked, my brother, nor should you be worrying about that. I am not naked, my brother. We need to intensify masculinity because the estrogen is beating the testosterone in some of our brothers. I don't even know why you would ask me that. You need a testosterone injection. My brother needs a testosterone injection. I got my new Ogun sword. I got my new Ogun machete I copped in St. Croix yesterday. Look at that. I'm a son of Ogun, so I needed the new Ogun machete to slap so I could chop the heads off these coons when I get back. So, this 21-year-old Caucasoid walks into the Dollar General in Jacksonville, Florida, assassinates 3 Africans. He actually kills one in the car. One of our fellow brethren was executed while sitting outside the Dollar General in the car. And then he proceeded to go into the Dollar General where he discovered and executed his final 2 victims. After killing one of the brothers, he chased his queen out the store and tried to kill his queen as well. I believe the queen got away. I believe the queen got away. Forgive me if I'm incorrect on that, but from what I understand, he murdered one king and the queen got away, but he chased her on out the store. Now, I'm having a difficult time believing that these random acts of mass violence against African people, I'm having a difficult time believing that these random acts of mass violence against African people, I'm having a difficult time believing that these random acts of mass violence against African people are not being coordinated by a structural power. I look at the Buffalo shooter and what he did. I'm looking at this Jacksonville, Florida shooter and what he did. I don't believe these are random. We know that the Buffalo shooter assassinated an inventor. He assassinated the brother who created a way to fuel cars without non-renewable energy. That brother invented an automobile that could run on water, if I'm not mistaken. There's no coincidence to that. When we go back to the DC sniper of 20 years ago, if we go back to the DC sniper of nearly 20 years ago, one of the Africans executed by the so-called snipers was Jeff Bridges, rest in paradise, who came up with Mata, one of the first independent black production, manufacturing, production, distribution, wholesale organs. He was assassinated. That cannot be a coincidence that there's always a great black mind who was assassinated in these killers. So, brothers and sisters, we need to do some research. I need you YouTubians out there, do some research on something other than somebody's sexual life. Do some research on something other than some celebrity gossip. Do some research on something other than character assassination. My YouTubians out there, I'm very disappointed in you because you major in gossip, slander, and character assassination. How about do some research on this 21-year-old Caucasoid killer? Do some research on him. And I want y'all to research his family, research his mother, and research his father, because I'm trying to understand why these two white parents, I'm trying to understand why these two Neanderthal adults were comfortable allowing their son, who lives in their home, I believe he still lived at home, why were they comfortable allowing him to purchase 2 firearms earlier this year? If you know your white son didn't like black people, I'm sure they already knew he didn't like black people. I'm sure that devil's parents already knew he didn't like black people. They knew he had a mental issue because he was already detained back in 2017 under the Baker Act. Under the Baker Act. Under the Baker Act. So if you know your son has a mental issue and he doesn't like African people, why did you allow him to bring 2 firearms into your home? Whether he legally purchased them or not, why did you not make him return those firearms? Why did you not call the police? Why did you not take the firearms from your son? He bought an AR-15 and a handgun. He bought an AR-15 and a handgun. He bought one weapon in April and another in June. And you white people want me to believe that his parents had no idea that he was planning a mass shooting. How are we to believe his parents, his white, racist, Caucasian parents, had no idea that he was planning a mass shooting? How is that possible? How is that possible? I believe his parents helped orchestrate the mass shooting in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida, please stand up and unite. Jacksonville, Florida, please stand up and unite. Black Jacksonville, Florida, please stand up and unite. We need a Black Florida movement. We need a Black Florida movement. Trayvon Martin, one of the first publicized mass killings, singular execution. Trayvon Martin's murder was in Florida. What about the sister a few months ago who was shot through the door by the white snow bunny and murdered? What about the sister in Florida? What about the mother in Florida who was shot through the door, a metal locked door, by the white snow bunny and died? What about her? And now we got 3 Africans in Jacksonville. Don't get me wrong. Racism is alive and well in every state. We are at war. It just has not been declared because it is covert. We are at war. It has just not been declared because it is covert. We are at war. It has just not been declared because it is covert. But Florida, Black Florida, and y'all have a racist governor who does not respect black life. A racist governor that does not respect black life. Black Florida, you have to organize. All my militia groups in Black Florida, start training our sisters, training our brothers in firearms. Start training them. Purchase your firearm. And if you are ex-felon and you're not legally allowed to carry, well, I don't have to tell you what to do. I don't have to tell you what to do. I don't have to tell you what to do. You know what? I think I need to host a mass gun training party. What do y'all think about that? Maybe I need to get with some of my brothers and sisters in the Fred Hampton Gun Club, the new Black Panther Party, other militias. I think we need to have a black gun training party. What do y'all think, brothers and sisters? What do y'all think, brothers and sisters? I think we need a mass gun training party because some of y'all walking around with the Bible and the Quran as your protection, and I'm not going to tell you not to. There may be some protection in your book, but I can guarantee you nothing is more effective than having that firearm in your pocketbook, on your waist, on your hip. We got to get serious The U.S. government is not going to protect you. America does not care about black life. I think we know that. I think we know that. A handful of Asian women in Atlanta, a handful of Asian women in Atlanta lose their life and they get an anti-Asian hate bill after a handful of shootings on a single night. They get an anti-Asian hate bill after a handful of shootings on a single night. A handful of transgenders are executed. A handful of rainbow militia members are executed and they get an anti-rainbow hate bill overnight. We got anti-immigrant hate bills. We got anti-immigrant hate bills, and we still don't have an anti-black hate bill. Nobody gets murdered in America more than Africans. Nobody gets murdered and wounded in America more than Africans. So how do the Asians get a hate bill after a handful of murders? How do the rainbow militia get a hate bill after a handful of murders? How do some immigrants get a hate bill with hardly any murders in black people? The oldest victim of America, the longest running victim of America, and there still is no anti-hate bill. Not the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill. That's for everybody. The Emmett Till anti-lynching bill is for everybody. The Emmett Till anti-lynching bill is so weak that it couldn't even arrest Carolyn Bryant, who was responsible for Emmett Till's execution. What good is the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill if it couldn't even be used to incarcerate the woman responsible for Emmett Till's lynching? That's not for black people. That's for everybody. Go and read the language. Go and read the language. Go and read the language. We need an anti-American African hate bill. Anti-American African hate bill. Where's the Congressional Black Caucus at? They've been suspiciously quiet lately. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus at? They've been suspiciously quiet lately. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus at? They've been suspiciously quiet lately. Now, this murder yesterday took place during the reenactment of Dr. King's 1963 March on Sharpton, and Reverend King III were in D.C. talking much about nothing, while Al Sharpton and Reverend King III was reminiscing over Dr. King's 1963 March on Washington. This devil was executing Africans. Al Sharpton, have you called for mass resistance by American Africans against our collective genocide? Reverend King III, have you called for mass resistance by American Africans? Did you Negroes simply bring us there so the Democratic Party can regain black trust? I hope that rendition of Dr. King's march yesterday so the Democratic Party can recapture our vote. Because I don't think I heard a single criticism of President Joe Biden. Correct me if I'm wrong, African family. Correct me if I'm wrong, African family. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did anybody hear a single criticism of Joe Biden during the march yesterday? I don't think I heard a single criticism of the so-called leader of the free world. I haven't. If you going to have a march about black people and you're not criticizing or holding Joe Biden accountable, the march was a fraud. If you're not criticizing and holding Vice President Kamala Harris accountable, the march was a fraud. If you are not criticizing and holding the Congressional Black Caucus accountable, the march was a fraud. But let me get back to Jacksonville, Florida for a minute. I digress. Let me get back to Jacksonville, Florida. I digress. Before I get back to Jacksonville, let me say this. If you have a black-owned rifle range or gun training program, listen to me, African family. I'm serious. If you have a black-owned black gun training program where you have the facility to train black people, you have a private gun range, public gun range. If you are a black gun trainer and you have range, I want to put together this fall, listen to me, Africans. I want to put together a tour. I'm going to go to about 5-6 states to 5 or 6 black gun training organizations or businesses. Okay? I don't have time to create one. My mission is mental health and education. I'm building schools for black children. I can't do it all. Stop being a lazy Negro peon. Stop being a lazy Negro peon. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm going to get in touch with my brother from Philly, brother Taj, my good brother with the gun movement in Philly. I'm going to link with him. I'm going to link with him. He been hitting me up. I'm going to link with him. But I'm going to link with my Fred Hampton Gun Club family. I'm going to link with my Fred Hampton Gun Club. I'm going to link with my Huey P. Newton Gun Club. I'm going to link with the new Black Panther Party. We're going to have, Dr. Umar is going to have a gun training tour. I'm not doing the training. They're going to do the training. But I need to get black people out and about. And I think that if I'm there, y'all will come out. You know, do some barbecue, do some ancestral libations, start a little bonfire. Let's have a camp out. What do y'all think about that? We're going to have a gun training camp out, brothers and sisters. If you, 𝚂𝚗𝙱𝚂𝚗, my good brother 𝚂𝚗, that's right. Thank you for the correct. He's in Philly. So I'm going to get with 𝚂𝚗. He's one, but we're going to deal with everybody. Who we got in Texas? Who we got in Texas that can train black people who have access to some private land for gun training? I really don't want to involve the Neanderthals in this. I really don't want to involve the Neanderthals in this. We need private black land where we can shoot and train self-defense. If you have that, I'm not reaching out to Twister, but Twister can reach out to me. Celebrities don't get privilege with me. I am no respecter of celebrities. All Africans are equal. I am no respecter of celebrities. All Africans are equal. If Twister wants to reach out, so be it. But celebrities are not special. We are over with that shit. We are no longer treating celebrities like they are special. They are no different than anybody else. Are y'all feeling me today, brothers and sisters? Am I saying something wrong when I say celebrities are no longer being treated better than other black people? Are y'all with me on that? Are y'all with me on that? They don't get special privilege because they don't do nothing special for black people. Black celebrities no longer get special privilege because they don't do nothing special for black people. Celebrities no longer get special privilege because they don't do anything special for black people. Am I wrong, brothers and sisters? Am I wrong in saying that, brothers and sisters? So this is what I want to do. We need a gun training camp out in the Midwest. I'm only going to choose one. If you're interested, text my phone. Don't send me no inbox because I have too many Instagram messages. I'll never get to you in time, and I don't check Instagram on a regular basis. If it's a serious message, it needs to come by text or email. Facebook inboxes and Instagram inboxes are not considered serious inquiries to me. So don't send me no Instagram inbox. That's bullshit, okay? Social media is bullshit. If you want to talk to me, you send me a text message or email, not no damn Facebook inbox, no Twitter, no Instagram. Grow the hell up and act like grown men and women. Grow the hell up and let's act like grown men and women, okay? Phone number 215. Don't call text. Don't call text. I don't talk on the phone. I text 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. Y'all should know my number if you're raising black children. We need responsible black men or women who have a history of training our people, who have access to a safe and secure space where you can train for the weekend. We're going to get there Friday. We're going to do some libations and meditations. We're going to do some meet and greet, some team building activities. And then all day Sunday we training. All day Saturday we training. early Sunday, we're going to do some training and then everybody can head back home. Okay? If you want to sponsor one of these, text me. This is the Team Pan-African King Kong Consciousness Gun Training Weekend Retreat. Gun Training Weekend Retreat hosted by Team Pan-African, Dr. 𝚂𝚂𝙺𝚁𝙸𝙱𝚴, and the hosting organization for the 6 sites. West Coast site, Midwest site, Deep South site, Southeast site, Northeast site, DMV site. This is an all-African affair. If you don't identify as an African, you are not invited. If you don't identify as an African, you are not invited. You will be searched when you show up. Your car will be searched. We need a full accounting of what you're bringing with you because we know how the power structure operates. It's not about Philadelphia. It's about everybody. I just told you I'm going to get with Brother 𝚂𝚗𝙱𝚂𝙗𝙗 in Philly for the Northeast training, my brother. Do you have a comprehension disability? Do I need to get out my psychological assessment test kit? Can we listen to what is said once in a while? Thank you for the happy belated birthdays. Thank you for the happy belated Earth Days. I appreciate you. I need y'all to research that young man's history. I need y'all to research his mother and father. Find out the name of that killer's mother and father and do the research. You're not going to tell me this was random. I find it very odd that they conveniently did not reach out to the police until after he did his killings. I find it very odd that his Caucasian parents did not alert the authorities about their son until after he began shooting our brethren. Don't you find it real interesting they didn't call the police until after the massacre began? Why did they wait until he started killing before they called the police? How did they know when he started killing in order to call the police? And this rabbit hole gets a little deeper. This rabbit hole gets a little deeper. And the reason the rabbit hole gets a little deeper is he was retained under the Baker Act in 2017. He was retained on mental health issues under the Baker Act in 2017. Because he was retained on the Baker Act, he should have never been allowed to purchase those weapons earlier this year. Did y'all hear what I said, brothers and sisters? I'm going to repeat it again. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand. Because as a psychologist, I know that when you are retained on the Baker Act, when you are retained on a 302, when you are diagnosed with mental illness, you are not allowed to carry a firearm. You are not allowed to purchase a firearm. So if this man was retained on the Baker Act for mental health issues, how was he allowed to purchase a firearm in April and another in June? How was he allowed to purchase a firearm in April and another one in June? How? How do we know his parents didn't buy those weapons for him? How do we know his parents didn't buy those weapons for him? How do we know his parents didn't buy those weapons for them? How do we know his parents were not involved in the planning of this mass execution? How do we know his parents were not involved in the planning of this mass execution? They say he killed himself. Did anybody see his corpse? They say he killed himself. Did anybody see his corpse? Where did he kill himself? Jacksonville, Florida family, I need you to respond right now. Jacksonville, Florida family, I need you to respond right now. Jacksonville, Florida family, I need you to respond. Did anybody see his corpse? Did he commit suicide inside the Dollar General? Did he commit suicide outside the Dollar General? Did he commit suicide on the way to the police precinct? Did he commit suicide at the police precinct? What time did he commit suicide and where was he? What time did he commit suicide and where was he? How do we know he took his life? Did anybody see a corpse? Did anybody see a corpse? Understand, overstand, and understand. Understand, overstand, and understand. Understand, overstand, and understand. And then, did you see how quickly the sheriff defended his parents? Did you see how quickly the sheriff defended his parents? Did you see how quickly the sheriff defended his parents? The sheriff said the parents had absolutely nothing to do with this. The sheriff said the parents played no role. How do you know? How do you know, sheriff? How can the sheriff tell us that his parents had nothing to do with this? How could the sheriff tell us that his parents had nothing to do with this? How can the sheriff do that? Please research his parents. Please research his grandparents. I believe Army intelligence is involved. I believe Army intelligence is involved. Was the mother in the military? Was the father in the military? Were the grandparents in the military? What were the parent professions? I believe Army intelligence was involved. Brothers and sisters, arm up. Mass killings are back and black people are the primary target. Brothers and sisters, arm up. If you don't think you can pull a trigger, get you some mace. If you don't think you can pull a trigger, get you some mace. If you don't think you can pull a trigger, get you some mace. So at least you can do a little spraying. Get you a gun, get you a couple knives. Don't leave home without something. Brass knuckles. Black woman, don't leave home without something. Black man, don't leave home without something. You need a testosterone injection. Your estrogen is getting the best of you, my brother. You need a testosterone injection. Your estrogen is getting the best of you, my brother. Okay? Okay? You are part of the estrogen-based anti-masculinity movement. Stop worrying about me with no shirt on. You are part of the estrogen-based anti-black masculinity movement. Stop worrying about me with no shirt on. I just came from the beach in St. Croix. I just came from the beach in St. Croix. I took a dip with the ancestors. Is that all right with you, Negropean? I just took a dip with the ancestors. Is that all right with you, Negropean? I just took a dip with the ancestors in the ocean of St. Croix. Is that all right with you? Stop worrying about me and no shirt. Somebody get that brother some testosterone. Somebody get that brother some testosterone. His estrogen levels are a bit too high. His estrogen levels are a bit too high. Brothers and sisters, strap up. You're not safe anywhere. Not the restaurant, not the mall. You can't even go to the Dollar General no more. And I'm going to say this to black women traveling with children. I'm going to say this to black men traveling with children. I'm going to say this to expectant mothers and elders. I'm going to say this to expectant mothers and elders. I'm going to say this to expectant mothers and elders. When you walk into a store, if there's no armed security guard, I want you to leave. If they want the black dollar, they're going to have to protect black life. I said, if you walk into a store and they don't have an armed security guard, I need you to leave. If they don't respect black life, they cannot have the black dollar. I said Walmart, I don't care where you go. The shopping mall, the dollar store, the restaurant, the poppy shop. If they ain't got no armed security, they don't deserve your money. Don't shop where your life is not valued. Don't shop if your life is not valued. The gas station, if they ain't got no armed security, stop going. They don't want to spend no money to defend black people's lives, but they want black people's money. They don't want to spend none of the money they make on black people to defend our lives, but they want black people's money. No, no, no. If it ain't no armed security guard, walk out. You ain't got time for this. But you know what else we got to do, brothers and sisters? We have to research the 3 Africans who passed away. Condolences to the family. We have to research the 3 Africans who passed away to see if any of them were strategic murders. Don't go into any store without armed security unless you are armed. Unless you are armed. You got to strap up, get your license to carry. I don't care if you ain't got no license. You got to have defense out here. The U.S. government has communicated to all people in America, black life has no value. Black life has no value in this country. He killed a 52-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 29-year-old. He killed a 52-year-old black queen. He murdered a 52-year-old black queen. He murdered a 19-year-old young king and a 29-year-old young king. Somebody do the research on those 3 victims. We're going to find out why this happened, because this was not a random act of violence. This was not a random act of violence. This was not a random act of violence. When we research that white killer, when we research his white parents, when we research our 3 Africans who lost their life, may God protect their souls and may the ancestors bring peace to their family. We're going to find out why this was done. Somebody get the research on. I need you worthless YouTubians. I need you worthless YouTubians who don't do anything but talk about people all day on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I need you to do some real research. How about researching the 3 Africans who died to see if there's a connection? How about researching this white racist killer and his 2 parents instead of making videos on gossip all day long? How can a black man sit on YouTube and do nothing but gossip? Gossip, all day gossip, your whole page, nothing but gossip, gossip, gossip. With all the problems we got, all y'all can do is gossip, gossip, gossip. Can we please do something productive? Can we please, I don't do nothing but talk. You sure about that? Last time I checked, I'm the only one in the conscious community building 2 relevant institutions. Last time I checked, I have totally transformed the way black parents deal with the educational system. Last time I checked, I've saved more black boys' lives than the hospital room. Last time I checked, I'm the reason thousands of black children are no longer on psychiatric medication. Last time I checked, I'm the reason tens of thousands of black children were not diagnosed with ADHD. Last time I checked, I'm the reason why so many young black men and women are not in prison. Don't ever ask me to give my resume. Nobody in the conscious community does more work than me, and you could quote me on that. Nobody in the conscious community does more work than me. Interviews is not work. Lectures is not work. Books is not work. Understand? Work. Work. Real work. I'm King Kong consciousness because of the work, not because I'm the best public speaker. But I'm the hardest worker, not because I'm the best public speaker, but because I'm the hardest worker, not because I'm the best public speaker, but because I'm the hardest worker. And in fact, for that comment, you are being entered into the book of Negroes. For that comment, you have just won yourself a place in the book of Negroes. Do you know what the book of Negroes is? That is a book where all names are kept of Negropeans who will never be allowed inside the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy for any reason. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Book of Negroes, we not giving you a notice. If you dumb enough to show up to the school and you want to be escorted out by your neck, no problem. Security will be tight. No problem. Book of Negroes. Once you in the book, you don't get out. Once you in the book of Negroes, ain't no coming out. I'm going to announce the final official grand opening date at Nat Turner's Martyrdom Memorial on November the 11th. We will be at Nat Turner October the 2nd. We will be at Nat Turner October the 2nd. We will be at Nat Turner October the 2nd, and we will be at Nat Turner November the 11th. On November the 11th, I will announce the final date for the FDMG Community Grand Opening. We looking at Kwanzaa, but it could be Dr. King's Earth Day. We looking at Kwanzaa, but it could be Dr. King's Earth Day. We're looking at Kwanzaa, but it could be Dr. King's Earth Day. And at the very latest, I'm looking at the first Saturday in Black History Month. At the very latest, I'm looking at the first Saturday in Black History Month. At the very latest, I'm looking at the first Saturday in Black History Month. Let me get him out of here. We have a crisis of estrogen beta males who are so miserable with their life